Hi everybody, this is Lily Apostolou. Welcome to Wards. We're here sampling local businesses and meeting new people in the Evanston area. We happen to be in the 4th Ward of Evanston today. We're here in front of the Wine Goddess at 702 Main Street. Why don't we come inside and check it out and see what she has to offer. Hello, we're here with the Wine Goddess herself, Diana Hammond.
Hi.
Thank you so much for sitting with us today. We're here at your winery and it is the cutest little shop ever.
Thank you.
What brought you here to Evanston? Why Evanston?
Well, I live here.
Okay.
I've lived in Evanston for about 15 years now. Primarily, I've been commuting into the city though, for wine gigs and whatnot. So it's been awesome the past 2 years. My commute pretty much vacillates between 1 minute and 2 minutes depending on traffic.
That's pretty good. Let's see, so you do sell wine by the glass, is that correct?
We do indeed. So we are a full-on wine bar. So that's one of the things it's on my TDL to get the word out a little bit more on that front. But yeah, right around Christmas of last year, we got the go-ahead from the good people at City Hall that we could now do not only wines by the glass, but beers by the glass and ciders by the glass. So at any time that we're open, people can come in, off of Main Street and, have a glass of wine, have a charcuterie plate, cheese plate, something like that.
That's
Snacks.
so great. So tell us about the wines here. So, is French really the best? I mean, just tell us the kind of selection that you have here.
Choose between my babies. Yeah. You know what? When I first started the store, I put out, the word to all of my esteemed vendors, my wine guys and gals who I've been working with for, 15 years. And I said, bring me great wine. That's really like the only kind of, tie that binds. I want to see wines from all over the world. I want to see wines from, just like I'm the little guy, I want to see wines from the little guy. Sure. I don't want to see mass-marketed, mass-produced wines that you can get at Jewel. I mean, why bother, right?
Right.
Go to Jewel.
Right.
So I want to see smaller, family-owned and operated, artisanal, boutique-y style wines, organic, if at all possible.
Okay, right.
And really the only kind of common denominator has to be that they are gobsmackingly delicious.
Great.
I'm not afraid of weirdo grapes that I've never heard of,
That's so great.
long as they're delicious.
Why go local, really?
Well, it's not so much that Jewel doesn't have good wines. It's just that, Jewel is a grocery store, so they don't have somebody there that can answer any questions that you might have.
Sure.
The one thing about this store, and this is another thing that's on my TDL that I want to get the word out, we have prices that are absolutely as low as you will find in the supermarkets. We have at all times an ever-rotating selection of what we call our cheap and good rack back there.
Great.
It's 12 wines under $12.
Okay.
And we have wines in the store at any given time that, for a 750 milliliter bottle go down to $6.99 a bottle.
That's really good.
So what I would say is that, going to a place that's a wine store proper is that you have, somebody here that can say, oh, Joe, I sold you that, Toronto's last week. What'd you think about that? Oh, I don't know. It was really kind of weird. It kind of tasted like Fruit Loops. Oh, okay. We're going to steer you away from that, and move on from there. So I really get to know people's palates after, just a couple of sessions.
Now, what about cork bottles versus screw top bottles? I mean, is there any distinction there with quality? Are you losing anything there? Okay.
Not anymore, really.
Okay.
Actually, the one thing that people don't quite realize is there's a very, very good reason why a vintner would choose a screw cap or what's called a Stelvin closure over a natural cork, because you run a very significant risk of getting what's called a corked wine.
Ooh, okay.
If you use a natural cork. They say 1 in 14 bottles has some level of this cork taint if you use an actual cork. So if you take cork out of the equation, 99.9% of the time, your bottle will be sound and pristine. And
that's so interesting because I had the same impression. Cork is better, and okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So.
Now, what about people who are new to drinking wines and maybe never tried wine and want to maybe expand their palate? Where would you suggest they start? What kind of wine would you suggest that they try?
You know what?
First.
The best way to learn about wine is to come to a wine class at the Wine Goddess on Main Street in Evanston.
So tell us about the wine classes.
Okay, so we offer about 40 wine classes in kind of a cyclical or a seasonal rotation. And people always say oh, what's the difference between a wine class and a wine tasting? There's a big difference. The wine classes are classes. They are full on sit down, hour and a half classes where you get packets with maps and people take notes, and which is not to say that they're boring or erudite or terribly scholarly. They're really, really fun, but it's definitely for people who want to learn a thing or two or three about the given topic. Like tonight we're doing the wines of France, so we're going to do a geographical romp through I guess we're doing 7 wines tonight.
Oh, wow.
The 7 major wine regions of France.
Oh,
And
that's
we're
so
going to talk
great.
about how to read a French wine label, what's the difference between French wines and American wines, etc.
And you have the complete list of wine classes on your website? WineGoddess.com, by the way.
WineGoddess.com, yeah.
That's great. There's also a wine club, a monthly club. Tell me
so-
about that.
Yeah, so we're so excited about this.
It sounds nice.
We just started a wine club, and it is a monthly, indeed, wine club. And there's 3 different levels that one could choose from. The first one is appropriately named Cheap and Good, and it's $35 a month. The second one is called the Passport Club, and that we tackle a region each month. So this past month we did the Willamette Valley, and then the third level, the Shishi level, is the Cellar Select Club, and that's $95 a month. And those are just, you get 2 wines worthy of cellaring. So each month you get 2 wines, and you get to choose between 2 whites, 2 reds, or mixed. And the cool thing is we have, I don't know if the camera is even going to be able to detect this, but every wine gets a little full-page write-up.
Oh,
Might
great.
be too glossy to see this, but anyway, which pretty much lists, the price, a little picture of the label, food pairing suggestions,
that's so great.
cheese pairing suggestions, a little bit about the winery, a little bit about the wine itself, and
so
certainly a little bit
great.
about the appellation and all that good stuff. So
That's
it's
so great.
a learning club, and you get a cute little orange dossier that you can keep all of your club wines, and you can put little notes on it like, oh, I really like this one, or oh, I didn't like that one, or,
That's so great. And again, you can sign up through your website for
Sign up through the website.
3 packages, winegoddess.com.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then again, with the wine classes, there's a full menu here? What do you get with the tastings even, I should say?
Sure. So for the wine classes, people ask us all the time, should we eat before we come?
Sure.
Definitely, because you're going to taste these 7 wines.
Okay.
So we do always, offer cheese and breads. We're the PM purveyor of Hune Bakery.
Okay.
Hune, that awesome bakery on
Okay.
Dempster Street.
It's a good place.
It's a great place. They close early, and rightfully so. They start very early, so we get their bread at about 5 o'clock. So we always serve hewn bread, charcuterie, cheese, olives, that type thing for the classes.
Okay, great.
And then for the tastings on the weekends, that's a different deal. They're way more casual. It's Saturdays from 3 to 6.
Okay.
It's only $5 to
Oh,
taste.
that's a good deal.
And it's usually me behind the tasting bar, and I'm pouring the wines. We usually do 6 wines.
Okay.
And so, anytime between 3 and 6, people wander in and out, and it depends. If you want to pepper me with questions, awesome. If you don't, you can just, sip your wine and perambulate around the store.
And this is great. It's just like what you said about going to a Jewel versus coming to a winery. You're going to have somebody there who's going to explain the wines to you and help you find what you like, and that's really, really great. So tell me about the trends, the spirit trends. Tell me what the trends are right now with wines and spirits.
Spirits and beer. It's all about spirits and beer, definitely. Yes. So kind of like the trend that we were seeing 10 years ago, where people were really embracing wine, and not only were they embracing wine, they were really wanting to embrace, smaller producers, more craft producers of wine, more artisanal producers of wine. We're seeing the exact same thing, in the spirit realm, but also in the craft beer realm.
Great.
And, talk about local. Here we are in, Illinois. We're simply not able, by laws of climate and all of that good stuff, to produce really very serious wines here. But boy, oh boy, we can create, beautiful beers right here in our backyard. I'm literally in our backyard when it comes to Temperance, which just opened this past year, and we have Smiley Brothers, which also opened in the Peckish Pig over here on Howard. They're brewing their own beers. So yeah, everything is just getting smaller batch and more craft, and the experimentation is just off the hook. People are just brewing beers with ingredients that you would never have thought of years ago, and really the same thing with spirits. So it's been really cool to see, and that too is something that we have really wanted to do with our beer and our spirits program. You won't find Budweiser here, and not because we don't think it's the king of beers, but because, again, you can get it at Jewel. We're a very small store, so when we do put stuff on the shelves, we want it to be something that is a little bit harder to find. I'm super proud of our spirits program and our beer program, mostly because I don't do it. We have a spirits goddess and a beer goddess, and her name is Tanis, and she's really smart about these things. And people, especially on the beer front, we've become fairly well known for our craft beer selection, and she's very particular about going local first, and then she kind of branches out globally from there.
And that's what's so great, is that it's not just wine here. There are spirits. There's a really great selection of local beer. The Three Floyds, is that right? The local distillery here that's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah.
And I actually see the prices here better than some of the other places, such as Binny's and whatnot. So you're actually getting a better deal coming here.
And we actually now, for the kiddies, also have lemonade. We have Spindrift lemonade.
Oh, that's so great.
A lot of kids like to come here with their families to the Wine Goddess, and we had this really she lemonade for a while that kids were just like not feeling it. So now we have like good kid sodas that are also for sale. So you can take them over to the train table, give them a little lemonade, it'll make it a family affair.
That is so great. So really, it's a one-stop shop here. I just love the selection. I love how quaint it is in here. It's a really lovely establishment.
Thanks.
Yes, definitely. I think that's it for today. Diana, thank you so much for sitting with us today. This has been a really lovely experience. Please come check out the Wine Goddess on Main Street in Evanston. It's a very lovely place, and you're going to sample some exquisite wine.